We're going to let you guys give it time to let you guys come on so you can watch this interview. And I will be uploading it on my YouTube channel, and I will drop the link down below. So we'll get into this in a couple minutes, so just enjoy the music until then. So just signal me and let me know when the 2 minutes is over. I go insane. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Maybe you should have had to for like future references, maybe do live invite people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is there any way you can invite people on there?
Yeah, I've been declining.
Go ahead and invite.
Well, I have to wait for another one to pop up.
So during the interview, you guys will be able to ask questions. So if you have any questions to ask John or myself, just go ahead and type it in there and we'll address them as we go along. Thank you guys for coming in. We're just taking a little bit of time just to get some viewers, and then we're going to start the interview. So thank you so much for watching the interview with me and John, and we do have some great things coming. So just sit tight. We'll be starting soon. How long have we been on?
I don't see a time.
No. Wait a little bit longer. Once again, we're just giving it some time for people to come in, and make sure you guys ask questions. We want to interact with you guys. It's going to be a testimonial. We're just trying to be as transparent as possible. Just trying to help and uplift our community. Color day, or you?
Nah, I only do about 2 colors a day.
2 colors?
Yeah, that's enough.
Are you flat iron?
That day. I was with Joy yesterday for a minute. She was wanting to smell with some hair. I get somebody to call her. Some girl wanted her to do something dramatic.
To her hair?
Some girl wanted Joy to do something dramatic to her hair.
Okay.
Princess Sandra said you look great.
Thank you.
Who, me? Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. All right, so I guess we'll get started. We'll go ahead and get started. You can go ahead and pause that for me. Okay, hello, good evening. Thank you guys so much for chiming in and watching our first interview today. So my name is Brittany Finch. I'm 31 years old, and I just started a YouTube channel. And what it is to share wisdom, so that, you know what I'm saying, if I went through some type of pain, maybe if I could tell the next person, maybe they don't have to go through the pain that I went through. They can learn from me, and then they can share it with each other. So my channel is to build each other up, uplift, and to give wisdom and knowledge by giving testimonials and things of that sort. So today I will be interviewing John Byers. So, John, thank you for joining us. The reason why I chose John, because John has went through a lot of trying through his life, and he has overcame a lot, and I feel like his story should be heard. I feel like if people hear his story, that it will make them stronger, and it will help lead our people in a better direction. I feel like in our community we have a lot of suppressing going on, a lot of change going on in our community. I feel like people are distracted by who they think they should be, and not really being their self, listening to their inner self. And I just feel like maybe you can shine some light on things like that. So we'll start with John. And anyways, all right, John. So tell us, first of all, John, who you are and what you do.
Well, as you said, my name is John Byers. I'm 45. born and raised in Evansville. As of today, I'm a professional cosmetologist. I got my license from Rogers in I believe October 2016. I became an official cosmetologist February 2017. So that's basically the summary of what I do as a professional and today.
Right. So John, you do hair.
Right.
But you don't just do hair, you color hair. And
Right.
the way that you color hair, it stands out from other people.
Right.
You have a gift. You have a talent.
Right.
And what a lot of people know is when you have that talent, you can't just sit on it. You have to mold it.
Right.
So I've seen you go out of town. You do
Right.
things like that.
Right. Well, when it comes to hair, I think education is the key. Not only in hair, I think education is the key in life. So by me being in the situation that I have been in my life, what I learned is that education is the key. It is the way. And I didn't mention, but sitting in prison 20 years, I understood the significance of reading and studying and the advantages that it gives you. So when I came home, I applied it into the career that I did end up choosing.
That's amazing. So something that could have killed your future, you used it to make you stronger as a catalyst.
Right. I took the negative and found the positive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I love how John he gives back to the community with his gift.
Yeah.
Even my hair, you did something free for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I was a college student, you helped my daughter, and then you help a lot of people in the community by giving free cuts.
All the time. I feel like to an extent, I think we all owe a debt, to society, for those who paved the way. It's like each one teach one, as you say, or passing it on. But helping someone or giving something to somebody is therapeutic for me also. So it's like medicine. It helps me continue to strive by giving something back.
Right.
To someone what they may not have.
Definitely, I feel that. So let's go back into your adolescent years.
Okay.
I want you to paint a picture of what did it look like back in those days?
Right.
Who were your mentors?
Right.
Who were the people you looked up to, and how did you get caught up in the lifestyle?
All right. Well, actually, I'm the fifth of seven children. My mom and father, we all share the same parent. They had 7 children. I'm the fifth of 7. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I was raised. My father was like a cobbler. He was into like leather belt shoes, fixing heels. He was self-made. My mom at the time she was more like a housewife. My father, he raised us in Islam. We were raised in New Harmony, Indiana. I went to grammar school, at a place called Farmersville, Indiana. Ended up moving to Mount Vernon for a little bit. Came back to Evansville in 1985. To be honest, my father and my older brother, maybe my older brothers, Myron and Marshall, are like, they have kind of like been my inspiration. As from a young boy, watching my dad work, that was very inspirational. Never begging, So my family basically has established the foundation, for my character,
Right.
Basically facilitated what was already in me. They helped bring it out. They helped bring it out of me. Came here. Went to Glenwood, went to the school system here, Glenwood and McGarry.
So for those who don't know about Glenwood, can you kind of paint the picture?
Glenwood?
Yeah.
Well, Glenwood, I went to Glenwood in the 6th grade, and Glenwood was more like it was a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade school, middle school. It was inner city, predominantly black.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from, New Harmony, which there was no blacks. There was no blacks there.
And it's rare in Evansville to go to all black, predominantly black
school, especially coming from where I came from. So I went there. I went to Boston and Harrison, and going to USI, and kind of got caught up in some other stuff that I'll let you question me about.
Yeah. So what type of stuff did you get caught up in, and why?
Well, why? I think I think in a man's nature, for me, I think a lot of the times we look at a lot of guys that's in the streets, we look at it as like greed or a person is lazy, or everybody's trying to find the fast way or the quick dollar, if I may. But for me personally, I look at it like, as a man, like, we have a natural nature to provide and protect and maintain. So like that nature, with the forces that we had, that we're up against. Not saying that drugs is a way out, but the forces that we're up against, it kind of feed that nature in man to provide and protect and maintain. And a lot of times we turn to the streets. And I got my freshman year at the University of USI. I got caught up, in the illicit drug trade. Ended up dropping out of school, dropping out of USI. I was going there for criminal justice. How ironic, but I was going for criminal justice, and got caught up in the streets. Trying to make ends meet, and got a little deeper in it than what I.
So can I ask what were you doing in the streets? What were you selling?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah. I have a conspiracy, possession with intent to distribute case out of California to Evansville. So just basically cocaine.
Right. So let's not get it twisted. This is something that we deal with on as me growing up too.
Right.
This is a transparency type of interview. And me growing up, that's what I wanted, was a dope dealer.
Right.
I felt like I was, Bonnie and Clyde type of thing.
Right.
You stand by your man and you hustle and you make that money. So I want you to paint that picture that these people in our day, they're worshipped.
Right.
This is who you want to be like.
Right.
Our gospel is rap music. That's what we was thumping in there.
Right.
It was all about making money, and I don't really think that we care who we sold it to.
Right.
Because I used to sell it to my uncle.
Yeah.
Who's now clean today, thank God, right?
Right.
So like back in that time, I want to know, like, so who was you dealing it to? Did it affect you?
Right.
Was it the mothers? Because it's so sad. Because back in those days, you're talking about crack babies, crack mom, crackhead mothers,
right?
And the best friend selling it to his homeboy's mama.
Right. Like, I'm gonna say, like, today, like coming home after doing 20 years of incarceration. When I come home today and I see like the effects, like you see, like you were speaking of, the mothers and whatnot, they end up having children, and some of those children today, they're your age, and younger and whatnot, and their parents were the ones that were caught up in our generation. And when I saw, like, to see the effect of some of the things that I have done or been a part of or participated in, it makes me more hungry to give back,
Right. But who was the population that you dealt to?
Oh, definitely my population was the inner city. It was for me, 99.9% black.
Right. And the reason why I asked that question is for y'all young men right now. You're in it right now. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're all about the dollar. You got your gospel bumping in the background. You're not thinking that you're doing any harm, but you're destroying your own people.
Right. Definitely.
And as you get older and you look back, the effect. And that's why you said it's a catalyst that makes you go so hard, because you've known what you contributed to.
Right. The effects of cocaine, I mean, from me growing up here in the inner city, it was more middle class. The inner city was more of a middle class place. On Blackfoot, Chandler, Gum. As 20, 25 years later, you look at it and it's depleted. And a lot of that depletion comes from, first, lack of knowledge, lack of education. We still have that responsibility, but a lot of it comes from the drug trade. And today the drug trade has like expanded more into like pills.
Oh yeah, heroin.
Methamphetamines, so like it's a little more, I'm not even gonna say sophisticated, but it's a little more like, this is what you get when you're dealing with hopeless people.
It's hitting a different geographic like never before.
Right, definitely.
It's hitting to the Caucasian geographic,
today,
and that's why a lot of us believe that's why they're actually doing something about it.
Right, definitely. As far as doing something about it, it's like,
hitting them with the crime, hitting them with the time harder.
Right. I mean.
And hitting the rehabilitation harder.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole dynamic of the drug trade, right? It's not for us. It's something that literally it's something that we should literally put down. But like you were saying, you came up, you were thinking Bonnie and Clyde. In my generation, females weren't so involved as much as they are nowadays.
the
And
woman's
when I
a
watch
dope dealer.
right
now.
when I watch the news
Yeah.
and I see girls today, they sell drugs just as much as the males.
Yeah.
They're helping setting up murders and robberies and stuff like that in this generation more so. So there's the continuous effect, you know.
Because no doubt back in those times, y'all used us really to hide it.
To hide it, right?
Because the
more
male,
so.
they always had the male,
Right,
and they wouldn't search us.
Right. Females, we didn't use them in the type of way that they're used today.
Right.
Definitely.
So you were used as a mule.
Right.
Basically, and
Right.
you think your man really loves you, but you're really being used as a mule.
But he can love you.
He can love you.
Yeah, because I mean, like when you're in that life, you know, it ain't that he doesn't love you, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it can. I understand what you're saying, but like, I love my girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At that time, you know, if I didn't love her, I wouldn't be home 20 years later trying to rekindle that. You know,
Right.
like you can love somebody. That's just like part of what it is. It's like, you know, you're a CEO in the streets, you know, in the drug trade, or you're a CEO at IBM. You know, it's
Right.
the same type of business.
Well, let me say this: is it fair to say that he may love you, but maybe that's not the love that you should settle for in that
No,
time?
definitely.
Because if you love that man, you would have to walk away and say, "Baby, this is not what we're gonna accept."
Right, definitely.
And when you get yourself together, then we can work on it.
That is true. But you know, when you're dealing with a people, you know, who lack self-knowledge, you know, who lack self-love, you know, that's the powder keg that we run into. You know, you understand?
It's
So
an unhealthy cycle.
right, it's definitely a unhealthy cycle. You know, because then nobody, you know, I mean, there wasn't no girl trying to stop me from selling drugs when I was, you know, in the streets. You know, so
Because she was also getting what she needed out of it.
Definitely.
You were using each other to an extent, to a certain extent, but even in a healthy relationship,
It's the same. It's the same
he's
dynamics.
providing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the same dynamics.
Okay, so not only, I'm not trying to glorify anything, but you
Right.
were like the man back then.
One of them.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's why you had such a big impact.
Right.
People look up to you. They want to
Right.
be like John.
Right. You know, I was
So
the
not
first
only, so what I say that because not only did it affect the people that you dealt to, but also the young black men.
Right, definitely. Because they were looking up to me.
Just like me, whenever I sold drugs or whenever I was a dancer, I felt like I brought so many young ladies in with me.
Right.
Whether it was to pop ecstasy, whether it was to get up on that pole, I felt like I led the way in a lot of that.
Right.
And I pray about that.
Right.
And like you said, that's what makes me want to go harder.
Right.
Cause now it's like, you know, don't follow me to the strip club, follow me to UE.
Right. Yeah.
It's in books.
Definitely.
But anyway, so then you got hit with some time.
Right.
Can you tell me about that?
I caught a little side case in December '95, and I ended up catching a 10-year sentence on that case.
How old were you?
21. I was.
You were young, John.
Yeah. I was 21. I caught a 10-5. I went to the state facilities, and while I was in the state facilities, I was indicted in a federal case. It was an ongoing investigation. Came back home. Was the first federal trial under Judge Young, and altogether they gave me 42 years.
42 years
Yeah,
at
42
21 years old.
Yeah, 42 years.
And this happens every day.
Yeah, that's every day. They give it to you like they did it before. You know, they give you time like they did it before, you know, and whatnot. So, yeah, you know.
You know, and I feel your pain because what's so sad is me and the people I grew up with, our baby daddies are either dead or they're in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my baby fathers are federal. My kids do not have a father active in their lives. And that's not something you ever want to tell anybody. I have a friend, her baby father was murdered. We all have the same story. And
Right.
I just wonder sometimes, like, why do we all have the same story?
Right.
What can we do to break it for the next generation?
Right.
So that affects me because when these kids grow up without a father, it affects, like, how did it affect your family? When you got that, how did it affect you?
Well, I mean, that's a good question, you know, but, like, let me say with my family real quick. Like, I mean, you affect your family, you know. Daughter, I believe that was 1.5 years old. in so many words, the relationship is basically, depleted, non-existent. I come home, she's 21. I leave, she's 2. Uh, so their relationship's almost non-existent. It's a struggle every day. As far as that, I never really had a chance to be a father. So like you lose all of that. You lose that. The daughter and daddy dance. You lose the graduation. You lose the prom. You lose the soccer practices. All for a little bit of nothing. And your brothers and your siblings, your sisters. Which that was my siblings out of my family is more so my siblings. Doing the time with me than my any other relative. So they're doing the time with you. So their pain is felt because you see it through the visits, you hear it on the phone, or you hear it through email or whatnot. So believe me, when you decide to make these decisions that are not healthy, you make those around you who may be unhealthy also.
Can you feel that right now when you're talking about it?
I mean, in like what way?
Like, do you like, is it relive when you separate talk about? Can you feel the pain? Some of the pain from that.
Right now at this moment I don't. But like there's moments, where I have to lean on people. I have to lean on God because it's black sometimes, it's dark, and whatnot. So there's moments that I do, that I do think about what I lost, but.
Obama let him out. And I just want that young man. First, I want to say, okay, so with your child, do you feel like you chose the streets over your child?
Definitely. I think definitely. I think we may be like, uh, we make that decision without a lot of thinking. It's like when you're young. When you're young, when you was around males a lot that was in the streets. Like we're married to the streets. Like we been to the streets before anybody. That's our life. Our homeboys are our best friend, our family. Like so, my thing at the time was to keep hustling, to keep providing, and in which at that time when my daughter's mother was pregnant, I should have been more like this is it. I got a responsibility. I need to you should not even be in it. But once you start to bring children into your life, you have to let it go.
But you become somebody you're not.
Right.
You definitely become somebody you're not, because I remember whenever I got my first charge, which was possession of crack cocaine, I lost my daughter. And I remember whenever I came out of jail, I remember her being in foster care, and I'm seeing her taking the baby. Right. That would be on me.
Right.
That's on my hands.
Right. Yeah. The blood's on you. Yeah. Definitely.
So whenever people say, "No, I do this for my kids," like I do this for my family, like is it a thin line or is it?
I mean, it is a thin line, but sometimes you can't really, if that's how they provide, that's how they provide. I mean, is there a better way? I'm sure it is. I mean, I've been on the other side of the argument where I'll be like, look at cigarettes, look at alcohol,
yeah,
which causes more death than cocaine, from my generation. So that's how we look at it. And we always felt like if stuff like that could be taxed or whatnot, that we wouldn't be incarcerated for such a long time. Because we don't have the power to bring the drugs here.
Right.
We don't have no power. So there's that line where some of those guys that's doing it, like they really are doing it. That's their job.
Yeah.
That's how they provide. Are they going to hurt us for getting the credit score right? Probably not. But they're providing in the best way that they know, because when you don't have no vision, and that's all you can see. That's all you know. That's what you do, you know, to make sure that everybody's eating.
Yeah, and that's why it's so, to me, it is such a thin line.
Yeah, it's a very thin line.
Because, like you said, it doesn't mean they don't love you. It don't mean they don't love their kids. But it's
Yeah.
like, but how can I get this young boy to stay away? That please try to choose a different route. Like
Right.
this, was it to you? Was it if you got $1 million out of it? Because first of all, what I see. First of all, I don't see nobody out here really making money
Right.
anymore like that.
Right.
It's like they just want to be rappers at the gas station. I don't know what's
Right.
going on.
Right.
I'm confused. But nowadays, if I see, like, I'm not going to put nothing out there like that, but if someone made a lot of money, it's all taken from them.
Right.
The cars are taken.
Right.
The houses are taken.
Right.
The Gucci, all that stuff is
Right.
gone. So at the end of the day, it was an illusion.
Right. Definitely.
You didn't make nothing.
Nothing.
And then when you come out, you broke.
Right.
You ain't got nothing.
Right.
So was it really worth it? When you could have
Right.
went to McDonald's.
Definitely. Not 1 cent is really worth it. You know, like when you talk about, you know, is there any value to selling drugs? No, there's no value at all. You know, I mean, like you said, it's an illusion. There's an illusion of value. You know what I'm saying? There's an illusion of prestige. You know what I'm saying? There's an illusion of being a man or what you know what you may have. But there's not one red cent is not worth a day of your freedom. So I mean, I don't care if you got, you know, 500,000, 1 million, 30,000. None of it's worth the time that you're going to serve.
And then another topic I want to hit on is all the snitching
Right.
that we're doing. And
Right.
I'll just bring it back. Like when I got hit with my time, they came to me and they said, I'm going to take your baby girl from you if you don't tell us,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
And they will.
And I said, you know what? I said, go ahead and take her because I'm not about to put someone else under what I created.
Right.
If I really didn't want to be in this trouble, if I cared so much about this young girl, and I love my baby, I'm not saying
Right.
that, but then I should have chose a different way.
Right.
And it happened.
But that is true. You know.
But I wasn't looking at 50 years.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit up here and say, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You never, unless you're, I always believe, unless you're in someone's situation, you can't speak on nobody.
Right.
I don't care what anyone's screaming. You don't know
Right.
what you'll do until you're in
Right.
the situation.
Right. I mean, because of the culture that we have today, and like you said, you know, getting down first or snitching or whatever it may be called. I mean, that's just another reason not to be in it. You know.
Right.
Right. That's basically
I
just another reason not to be in it. There's no pressure. There's no pressure that I could have received from the federal government that would have made me give up. You know, I wouldn't want to see my enemy in my situation. You understand? So there was nothing like, there wasn't even the thought in my mind to bring someone else into the situation that I was in. Like my blood didn't even you know rotate like that in me. Like it wasn't a thought. If they would have gave me the death penalty, if they would have gave me life, I was facing 20 to life. You know, if they would have gave me anything, like there was nothing in my mind, in my heart, in my soul that was going to have me, you know, get people up. I made a bed, and I laid in it. You know, and that's what it really should be. But like we don't want to get into, you know, glorifying the game and saying this is what we should do or whatnot. The best thing to do is just don't do it.
Right.
Right. Just don't do it.
So how much time did you end up getting?
Altogether?
Yeah.
53 years.
So how much time
53
did you
years.
serve?
53 years. I served 19 years and 3 months.
19 years
In
was
3
taken
months.
from you.
Right. But
And
they
then-
could have let me out in 5 days. No, not 5 days. But they could let me out in 5 years, and I would have known it was enough. You know,
would
the
have.
time was excessive.
Some
Yeah.
people get back out and do the right.
I mean, you
But
know,
to each its own.
that's what you do. You know, it depends on what you do with your time when you're there. You
Right.
know, and when you know, like you know, I learned to like cope. You know, I learned to cope. But at the same time, I did a lot of self-reflection. You know, I started to listen to like what you spoke on something earlier, which is the inner voice. You know, I started to everybody has an inner voice. You know, if we have this inner voice that we hear and you know, we don't listen to this inner voice 10, 12, 13 times, you kind of pit it to death. You know, you're killing yourself, you know, because we all have a moral voice in us. And when we start to put ourselves back on the right path and like massage that voice will lead us in the right direction.
So for those who are looking at
Mhm.
time right now,
Mm-hmm.
what did you do while you were in there to help build who you are today?
20 years, Brittany, it was stages. You know what I'm saying? Like I went through stages. I went into 22. So,
Such a
you know,
baby.
yeah, you know, you're 22 and you're worth, you know, this much money and whatnot, it's like you're not gonna be able to tell me a whole bunch. Do you understand? Like you have to get tired. Sometimes you
Like
can talk
fed
to
up type.
yeah, you have to get tired of the situation. You have to get tired, you know, and you gotta want to do better. So to me, it's all about you know just wanting to do better. But as far as like how did I cope with the time, I went through phases. I went through phases where I was violent. I was feisty. I went through phases where I was reading hood novels and mob books. You know what I'm saying? Then uh, I got around certain brothers and whatnot, and maybe certain sisters wrote me, and they were starting to awaken that self-accusing spirit in me. So then I started to listen to maybe T.D. Jakes.
He's a good one.
Right. So I just
motivational.
Right. I just started to listen to the different theology. I'm very tolerant of people's way of life and their belief in God and stuff like that. I came through that phase. But the main thing that that helped me get through those 19 years and 3 months was definitely reading.
Reading.
Right. Self-reflecting. Whether it be I read books on theology, capitalism, socialism, government, monetary, historic history. I was just reading things that I felt had substance and that can better help me see upon my release.
Okay. And then as you got out, I remember you telling me about you suffering from PTSD.
Right.
So it didn't just stop when you were in there.
Right.
It was something that you carried when you came
right.
out as well.
Right. I mean, you're like, I'm sure every person deals with it different and whatnot. But like I do, there's a degree of depression that there's no degree. Like it's just something that should be known. Like we, in the Black community, we don't like to talk about these things because it's just it draws the picture of you being weak.
Right.
But like depression and anxiety and stuff like that is
it's
real. Right. It's really real. And like I said, a lot of the things that I do, I say that they're therapeutic. There's times where I have seen a counselor or talked to a psychiatrist or whatever it may be, to help me along those lines, dealing with my post-traumatic,
Yeah, and if you have any type of illnesses like that, diagnosis like that, or you have suicidal or just anything like that, you can always go to like Deaconess Cross Point. You can go to ER.
I did. Yeah.
Seek help as soon as possible.
Right. I went, just had conversations with people that I trusted and, kind of, accepted, what I was dealing with. And in prison, I didn't at all. I didn't, go talk to nobody. But when I came home, the effects that I were having,
right,
was that bad where I needed someone to talk to.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because like when I had it all, everybody was up under me. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when I came out, I felt like I was nothing.
Right.
I was already a dancer. I already lost my child. I lost my home.
Right.
I felt like nothing. So in my mind, I'm like, how can I become something? Where can I find her again?
Right.
And mine was God. Right. I had to reach to God. I called my pastor,
right.
And he said the first thing you do, because I was on drugs, is get some sleep, right. Babe. Like, get some sleep, Brittany. Right. Not babe, but Brittany. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
I'm just talking, but get some sleep or whatever. But and I was thankful. Basically, I was thankful that my pastor, he didn't judge me.
Right.
He just talked to me like I was a human being. I even went to church high.
Right.
And he was like, Brittany, come in to church. I'm like, no, not tonight.
Right.
Not tonight. I'll be back soon,
Right.
But so anyways, whenever you were getting, you were talking about the PTSD, and so what led you to think of hair, to do hair?
Hair just came to me out of the blue.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was a barber, over at Gerald Tyler, who mentioned becoming a barber for him and whatnot. And like I said, I got into hair. I didn't know how to turn on a curling iron. I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. It was like a new form of physics to me, or some some type of quantum science or something.
Right.
So like it was just something new. So I literally just got into hair because, to be honest, I didn't want to be a person who had to clock in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do so much time. I've been told what to do for so long.
Right.
I wanted to do something that was a little more liberating for me. So to be honest, I got into hair strictly because I didn't want to go back to prison. I wanted to find something that I could do, and I could decide if I wanted to work today or if I didn't want to work today. And at this age, and I didn't want to go back to prison.
Yeah, I'm already telling myself that's not even an option.
Yeah, I didn't want to go back to prison.
It's no longer an option.
Yeah.
And I'm too old to go back on the post, so
Right.
that ain't no option, no.
Right.
I'm just joking. It's not an option. But, so not only that, so when you got back out, what about the relationships you had to rebuild? How did you feel? I think it's hard for fathers to get back into their kids' lives.
Right. I mean, for me, relationships, like, I mean, I wasn't focused really. Like, I mean, I had my friends that they were there, and those are your friends. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else is no reason to rebuild. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, there was no reason for me to come home and start to rebuild. You know, any relationship outside of my daughter.
Right.
You know, and that was the only relationship that I thought, you know, I had to not rebuild, but to build because I never had it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, re is like to go back. So we're not rebuilding. So I just wanted to build a relationship with my daughter. And outside of my daughter, I have a relationship with my siblings. I have a relationship, you know, with some good friends who supported me. And everything else wasn't really a concern.
In the community,
Mhm.
you've really built a relationship with the community.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even know you, John, and I got on Facebook and you was on in everyone's picture.
Remember?
That's all. I was like, who is this guy?
I didn't even see a Facebook yet. I didn't even know I had no clue what Facebook was because you got to realize I missed all of that.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So my sisters were telling me that, you know, there was something I needed to check a notification because they had me a phone set up with a Facebook and everything, you know. But I heard the same thing that you're speaking of, but I didn't have a clue how to work that.
You didn't have a clue.
Yeah,
That is
cool,
so
no.
funny.
Yeah.
So is there any last things you want to say to anyone out there listening? And if you guys have any questions, please type in the questions and we'll answer them too.
No, I really don't want to have nothing. I do have something to say, but not a lot to say. You know,
Okay.
You know, just, you know, accept your own and be yourself. You know, it's like, you know, we know we got to do better. You know, and the first thing that's going to get us to doing better is to accept your own, be yourself, respect the women, respect our women. You know, because if you're respecting your woman and you're accepting your own, being yourself, believe me, you got a good relationship with God. You know, because all of that, you know, ties in together.
I believe that for sure. He is number one, that's for sure. He is the core. So, is there anybody asking any questions or anything? No? All right. Well, I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. I love how you speak, how you hold yourself. You're just, I'm impressed.
Thank you. Sure.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm proud
you.
of you too, Brett.
Have a good day. Peace.